Well, I finished Red Dead Redemption 2, the second. Red Dead Redemption the second. This Red Dead second. And that was good. Hot take. Red Dead Redemption 2. It's pretty good. That's a pretty fucking good game. But of course, what that means is, as some of you may know, I basically took a little bit of time off, pretty much just to play Red Dead Redemption 2. And so now I've sort of got to get back to work. I've got to actually do shit now. Which is a shame. I didn't do too much in Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not a huge fan. I don't really worry about like bonus missions and those sorts of things. I did a few, like, you come across strangers and they give you little things to do. I did a few of those. But I'm, in general, with video games, I've never too interested in doing like all the bonus stuff and get all the high ranks in the thing and find all the hidden items and do all this. I'd rather just play the game up to, to the story. Find out the story, which characters, live and die. I'm not saying any of them do die. I'm not saying any of them don't. I don't want to give spoilers to a game that's been out for quite some time now. But yeah, I just like to play the game. I play the game. When I'm done with the game, I'm pretty much done with the game. I'll probably give it another playthrough at some point. But of course, what I'm doing now, not in as much of a dedicated way as I was with Red Dead Redemption 2, but I've gone back to Red Dead Redemption 1. Because Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place pre the first game. It's a prequel to the first game. So I've gone back because you get more context for the characters. Like certain things in the first game that are mentioned suddenly have more context after playing the first game. For instance, I think it might be in the first game, and I only really noticed this this time round playing it again. In the first game, I think it's one of the very first lines John Marston says is someone asks him, is your name John Marston, or do you go by John Marston or something? And John Marston says, sometimes, in his cool cowboy John Marston voice. And so when you play the game, originally, you play the first Red Dead Redemption, and someone says, are you John Marston? And your character goes, sometimes. That's just like, ooh, he's cool. But then, after playing the second one, it's like, because then at one point, he went by a different name, and it was a whole thing of him having two names and trying to get a loan from the bank for these things. But he was a guy who had two names, and it was a whole thing. And that makes sense now in the context of having played the second game. You go, so I'm looking forward to a few more moments like that. Even like, in the first game, one of the very first things that happens is you go and see Bill Williamson, who of the Bill Williamson gang, and you do find out that, he and John used to go together in a gang, and it was a whole thing. And in the second one, Bill Williamson is one of the main gang members. He shows up quite a lot in the second game. So it's a whole thing. There's all this new information you get from playing the second one, that it's fun to go back, play the first one again, which is what I'm doing. Well, not now. Now, right this moment, I'm drawing. Today, we're just drawing in our sketchbook. It's not my sketchbook. It's our sketchbook. Well, no, it's mine. You get your own. You've probably all got your own sketchbooks, haven't you? All you art types, all of yous. I know, you all sit there watching me listening to me go on and on while drawing your own things. You're all arty arts, doing your arts in your hearts while you sit and farts on your arts. Sitting on your arse, making arts. It's the Max, if you were unaware. I'm sure you could tell. It's not really a secret. It's not hard to see what's going on here, is it? It's the Max. Everyone loves the Max. Because I'll get into it. I've got things to say. Oh, I don't have much to say. This is one of those. It's not a filler episode. It's a good episode. It's just, he says at the start of the. I don't know. I've got a good art book to look at. We'll get into that. Plenty of time to. I like drawing like tendons and things like this, connecting bits. They're fun to draw. Little fun things to do, like little bits of noodling, I guess they call it. Lots of little hatchings and things. Adding in little angles of shadow. Oh, this pen's shit. It's not water soluble. If you get this wet, it smudges, which I learned by drawing a thing and then trying to colour it in with like markers, and the black ink just smudged fucking everywhere because these aren't water soluble marker pens. They're just, oh, it even says on the side water based. They're pretty decent pens for, just for being brush pens. You can get bigger lines, finer lines, and they're double-ended like a dildo, so you can get like little funny faces. But if you're going to do colour, you want to do the colour first and then apply the black outlines, which is actually, it's the way I prefer to do it. It's the way I learnt to do it whilst doing like graffiti and stuff. You learn about layers and things. Because in graffiti, you don't draw the outline of the piece and then fill in the colours. You do like a big block of colour and all the designs and stuff, and then the outlines, and then like effects and highlights and shit on top of that. And that was a genuinely useful sort of artistic tool I learned from graffiti that I carried through to other art and such. Yeah. This is the Max because I had these drawings here, which was what I did for that Beast Rex Beast Shape challenge. Put the Max in the Beast shape, and I cheat because I don't care about rules. Art wasn't made for rules; it's made to break the rules, man. So you're not supposed to have like a spike coming out here, but fuck it, I don't care. So I did the Max. It is 30, fits in the shape quite well. And then I had this whole space here, and I figured one day I'll draw a big picture of the Max, like coming in here. And so that's what I'm doing now. There's a little goblin. I don't necessarily want to obliterate the goblin by going over it in black ink, but I might just do that anyway. I really respect Sam Keith for what he did with the Max, primarily because it's clearly, from the first time you read it, even if you don't know about it, you clearly see he made a thing and he went, I guess I'll put it in a comic. I'll make a story around this cool character I've drawn. And the story itself is like kind of all over the place in parts and not the best like comic book story. But it's all right here and there. But it's just he wanted to make a thing, and then he made a thing. It wasn't, by committee. It wasn't like someone commissioned him. Oh, we need a new superhero character, but he's got to be like weird, kind of edgy anti-hero kind of. Sam Keith, what can you do for us? It was Sam being like, I've got this thing and I'm going to make it. and it was really, well, it was all right. You know, the design's pretty good. Now I spoiled it because I don't know if I want to put the spike over his. I'm going to though, so. I don't know how like public knowledge it is, but I understand that his whole hands, the spike on his hand thing, that's his middle finger, so he's almost constantly like this, which is quite funny. And he supposedly dipped his hands into molten metal or something, which like galvanized up to the wrist, which gives him his like powerful the max hands. I think I saw or read that somewhere, or I might have made it up. I don't know. I don't really care. It's not my responsibility to state facts about anything. I don't give a shit. Pew! Max, max, max. Take it to the... Should we talk ideas? Here's a few post-it notes. I had this idea, because there's private detectives exist. You know, like private eye, private detective, private investigator. And then I wondered if there could be such a thing as a public detective. Yeah, if I could do that as a job, if I make little flyers and pass them around locally and be like, I'm a public detective. I help you find shit. If you need mysteries solved and you can't afford to, you know, hire a private detective, hire me. I'm a public detective, whatever. And then I'll go home and Google shit. If someone says, oh, I lost my cat, I'll Google, where's the fucking cat? And then I'll find the cat and get paid, I don't know, a tenner, maybe get paid in food, whatever. That was an idea. Peppa Pig slaughter. That was an idea for a drawing I might do. I thought it'd be quite, you know, continuing the theme of like Peppa Pig and violence. To draw like a really cool, not really cool, but like almost a fairly plain scene of like a slaughterhouse with meat hung up and just a guy, you know, like cutting a big slab of meat that's hung up. But the meat that's hung up is Peppa Pig hung upside down, like split open and all like mushy and detailed and stuff. I thought that could be quite funny, couldn't it? Whoa, that was an edit. I realised I'd written a password for something across here. And I had to get rid. These are Spoonerisms. You all know I like Spoonerisms. They're one of the funniest fucking things ever. Are Spoonerisms, where you take the first letters of two words and swap them around. So, for instance, it's not a good one, but like piss lord would be lispord, which isn't a good one. It doesn't make sense. But these are some ones that like I saw one online, which was someone's dad said. They always say things like, I'm gonna shake a tower. See, take a shower becomes shake a tower, which is quite funny. And then there's things like smart fellas becomes fart smellers. That's good. Pheasant pluckers, or a pheasant plucker becomes a pleasant fucker. Because you could take the whole sound, so the P and the H, and then the P and the L and swap those. That counts as a Spoonerism. So a pheasant plucker becomes a pleasant fucker. Popcorn becomes cop porn. Get the police in some pornography. That's funny. Look, it's the max. That's pretty cool, actually. I'm pretty happy with that. That's what you like to see when you look through a sketchbook. You want to see cool shit like that. Like, let's... shall we do the sketchbook look now? No. Random find time. This one I picked up. I saw this. It was on the shelf in the bookshop, like this. It was in amongst like how to draw manga books and that sort of shit. Like just garbage. Loads of books like that. Animation for beginners and whatever. And I saw this and I picked it up 99% because of the dimensions of it. Because I love books as objects. I'm very much a fan of books as things. They're useful and they're cool and you get some cool books. But I love just the feel of books as things to have and hold. And this one, I love for the size of it. I've got a couple of books of similar size and dimensions. Size, height, width and depth. And But I picked this one up 99% because of that. And also because it was like, it said sketch. And I was like, okay, a book of sketches that's like that can't be bad. And it's this guy, Terada Katsuya. Katsuya Terada. I'm completely ignorant to him before seeing this book. Looked him up. He's a Japanese like artist, cartoonist. I guess he does like manga and stuff. And this is really cool. It's a book of drawings by him, which is, I mean, that's what you want in an art book, where every page is just drawings or whatever it is you're looking at. And we're going to do this because we prefer to. We're going to see how it looks without the dust jacket. The dust jacket, it's pretty cool. It's drawings. You could almost take that and frame that as like a little piece to go on your wall. That'd be quite cool. But you know, it's got all this shit on it, and when you're trying to look through a book and it's got this flapping about up and down, it's just awkward to have. And I've said this before, so far with 100% success rate, the books have looked better with the dust jacket off than they do with it on. And this, as I'm seeing now for the first time, is no exception. That's a much nicer, I love the tone of it. It's not white, it's like grey. It's not got all the barcode and shit ruining it. It's got paper lines and drawings and things. The spine's cool. Pie. Yeah, so I'll keep the book like this, which it's even more pleasing to hold like this than it is with the dust jacket. So fuck them dust jackets. I won't look through every page because there's approximately a zillion pages. Straight away, maybe it's unfair to say this, but it reminds me of Kim Jung-gi and his ilk. Those like what are they? It's the Super Annie, the agency that represents him. Those sorts of artists, and I don't know if that's just like an Eastern, like Korean, Japanese, Chinese style. But then there's like Karl Kopinski has a very similar style, and he's English. So it's that vein of artists, like Super Annie, artistic sensibilities, and this gives me those vibes. It's just, so I don't want to, you know, sit here and compare anyone who draws like certain things in a certain way, you know, like girls with mechanical parts, animals with mechanical, like Kim Jung-gi does that sort of stuff, and I don't want to sit here and say, oh, well, it's just like Kim Jung-gi, because that's almost not fair. The guy is Katsuya Terada Katsuya. It's clearly his own guy with his own style and his own thing that he does. But it's just, you know, when something gives you a feeling of something else, you can't be helped, can it? It just is there. And when I look through this guy's work, I do get that sort of feeling of you know, Kim Jung-gi and such. But they're cool drawings. They're fun drawings. Very imaginative drawings, which I appreciate, which is continually, I feel like I'm losing my imagination as I'm getting older. I feel like I can only draw like nudes and butts and like stuff that already exists. I feel like it's becoming harder and harder to draw imaginative things. And maybe that comes from, you know, the work, doing commissions and stuff all the time, where it's so usually fairly stringent and in terms of what I have to produce. And maybe if I did have like a year or two to just sit and draw whatever I want for a year or two, I could probably come up with some very imaginative things. But it's hard to do that on a daily basis in between, you know, researching and drafting and drawing and painting different comic characters and movie characters and portraits of friends and family and pets and things. But yeah, I love looking through these. But then you have the issue of looking through a book like this and then starting to draw like this guy, like seeing a few things and being like, oh, hey, what if I drew a girl like I draw girls, but then with this huge, weird, like old man head floating in front of her? Wouldn't that be cool? And like, I could probably draw that and make it look good, and it would look like one of my drawings because it would be drawn in my style. But the fact is, I saw it in here and then went, hey, that's neat, I'm going to do that, which isn't necessarily bad, and I have done similar things before, but I always just feel like it's a bit of a cop-out. And I try to have, like, if I'm drawing the max, then it's the max, it is what it is. But if I'm trying to draw an original idea, I prefer it to be an original idea. And so I will, if I have any idea that I believe to be original, I'll Google it, I'll do a little search. And if a bunch of things come up, like if you Google gun Viking, for instance, you'll get, there are some images of my gun Viking up there. And then maybe like one or two like small bits of clip art of like a Viking with a gun, or like a gun that's nicknamed the Viking or some shit like that. But on the whole, gun Viking is a pretty original combination of two words. So I try to do that with any idea I feel is original, and there have been many times where I've thought of an idea and gone, hey, that's fucking cool, I'll draw that, and then stop and go, okay, let me Google it to see if people have already done this. And there's been times where there's so many results where so many people have had the same idea, and then I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I won't, I'll just leave it, I'll do something else. And so there's nothing wrong with taking inspiration from, you know, if I start drawing women with, you know, mechanical parts and all this shit going on, there's nothing to stop me doing that. But I feel like there's enough other people already doing it, and it's just like, I don't need to do it because there's enough people already doing it, so I could do my own thing. But regardless of me feeling the need to steal people's ideas, I love looking through books of drawings, man. They're just, I love them. What can be better than just looking through drawings, all of these images that a person... I'd struggle to put together a book like this, like even today, where one person has drawn all of these fucking things. And it's good because there's little doodles, there's more refined pieces, and there's this book in particular, which goes to my point of liking books as objects, is there's different kinds of paper in this book. Like there's these pages which are like slightly toned, there's these pages are slightly glossy, these ones are matte. Like there's a whole collection of different stuff going on in this book. And some of them the ink is blue, some of them the ink is black, some of them are like coloured photos and stuff, some of them are like pencil drawings. And this, I believe it's like the printing is just printed blue. These are, I might be wrong, but I believe these would have been drawn in black because that's just the standard, isn't it? But they're printed in blue, which is cool. It's a neat little thing, and I like it. Little, like, I don't know, thumbnails and things. Monkey good, we like monkey. And there's, yeah, humour in these drawings. That's something I really appreciate, because there's a lot of drawings like this that the artists can take really seriously, but it's always cool to see the humour in it. I feel like I've just spoken more in the last 5 minutes than I have in the last 5 days. Lizard! See, now I've just got a book about reptiles so I could draw a bunch of lizards. Now I've seen this, I don't want to draw lizards anymore because I'm like, well, now he's drawn a lizard. If I start drawing lizards, it's like I've copied him. Which it's not. They're lizards. They're fucking lizards. There's no one holds a fucking copyright on lizards and drawings thereof. So fucking draw some lizards. I do plan to do something with those drawings of lizards. I wanted to do like a bunch of goofy drawings of lizards and then turn them into like more cartoony, characterful drawings of lizards. That's cool. I like that. See, that reminds me of like Karl Kopinski, because he draws a lot of like, you know, monkey priest sort of stuff. I mean, any book of drawings, like Mike Mignola's book of pencil drawings, you can look through that and that's cool, and any others. But then something like this, that's this fucking thick. I could happily like spend entire minutes looking at each page. You know, some pages you sort of look at and go, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Like like, yeah, okay, that's neat. Good composition, good shadow, and whatever. But I could spend ages looking at each page and just be like, focus on different aspects and what's being drawn and how it's being drawn, and then spend just a fucking day, an entire day, looking through this book, ignoring all my responsibilities, which, you know, I do anyway, so I may as well look at some artwork whilst doing that. His dragon heads are really cool. I like his dragon heads. I like his mark making as well, because he does hatching, but not like hatching like I like cross hatching. He does these like lines, but it gives a really nice texture to his pieces. Very few overlapping lines. I think that's maybe part of what it is. Like all the I guess it could be called hatching, but it's not cross hatching. It's because very few of the lines like overlap each other. I don't know. That's cool. It's cool character design. The little like harpy chicken. That's neat. I do like these characters with like just loads of stuff on them. That's a really good thing about Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. Is when you're walking around and you've got like 2 rifles slung across your back, a satchel, 2 gun holsters with your belt and everything, and all this shit. I like that. I like it a lot. More girl heads with like robotic helmets and stuff. Yeah, we get it. You draw a lot of those. Yeah. This is the kind of shit that you look through and it makes you want to draw. Like you look through a book like this, you put it down and you're like, fuck, I need to draw. I got all these ideas I have to steal. I've got to draw them all. I think that's... Shall I do that? Where's a fresh... I've lost all my actual usable post-it notes. God damn it. Naked girl and big man head. Like the naked girl and a big floaty man head. If nothing else, after looking through this book, I'll take that idea just because it could be fun to draw. I'll draw that. Naked girl and big man head. These are fucking insane, man. So yeah, he does have cross-hatching in some of his drawings. And I might be wrong, I might just not know, but owing to the style and the types of drawings and I guess just what I've seen in this book, it's probably safe to assume this is drawn straight into ink, like without pencil guides and everything, which I might be making up, but that might be the case, and either way, it's good. Look at that, man. That shit is bananas. Bananas! All right, now I'll have a look through the sketchbook. Start off... Oh, excuse me. Let me get some Dr. Pepper down my gullet. Nice. Oh, speaking of, I mean, it might be, by the time this is on YouTube publicly, outside of Patreon, it might not be relevant. But there has been a slight delay to the Butts book because of CMYK. CMYK detests this pink. It just won't show it up. I could put almost any other drawing, any other painting, and it's absolutely fine converting it into CMYK from RGB, because you have to print in CMYK, I guess. And it detests this pink. It shows it as like a darker purple, almost identical to this purple. And so I've had to start going back and reworking all the pages I put together. Because, like a dummy, I should have known by now, after getting so many things printed, that it's got to be CMYK, and it affects the tone. So that's something. That's cool. That's a cool opening page. It's got a button, a fucking thing. That's cool also. I'll get some more stuff in here. Maybe stick some more bits in, draw some more doodles in. Of course, I've said that about just about every sketchbook I've ever had, and a lot of the times I don't go back, but sometimes I do, like today. That's cool, though. You open up a sketchbook and see that. That's pretty fucking cool. I like that. Well, we've got legs. Furby, that was in the podcast. A lot of this would have been in the podcast. These were all in the podcast. This was in the podcast. Just make this the podcast sketchbook. I was trying to draw or paint like a green goblin, but in grey tones. For some reason, it might have just been one of those days where I wasn't feeling it and I couldn't be fucked. So it wasn't really happening. And it just came out shit. Because I want it to be the grey goblin instead of the green goblin, and his expression is just sort of like meh, just absolute, just that expression. Bleep, bloop. That was, I drew the guys in like the invisible PNG background. This is from Gun Viking. Again, I had a couple of pages ready to go, ready to paint, but I was unhappy with portions of them, so I was reworking parts of it. Yes, rhinoceroses. Oh, I was trying to draw Flesh Bob with Leatherface's face, so like a Leatherface Flesh Bob, Leatherflesh face flob, place flob bob flob blob, leather flob blib face blob, flesh face leather blob. I drew a bunch of them. I couldn't. It's the pose. It's the fucking pose. I just never know what fucking pose to draw. And because it's really awkward, I have this thing where I always want to show both arms and both legs in every drawing. Where sometimes it's just unnecessary. Because like the arm might be behind something like here, or the arm would be behind the chainsaw. You could just draw the little hand here, and people would understand. But then in my head, I'm like, no, I have to draw it like coming out here, so you can see the arm and you have to see the legs. So I was trying to work out all these different poses for that to try to fit. Put the arm awkwardly up here, bending the wrist weirdly, like unnecessarily. But then it's just in my head. I think if people see the drawing, they'll be like, "Where's the other arm?" Which they won't be. They'll be like, oh, he's holding a chainsaw, so it's behind the... I don't know. This was Beast Rex. DTYIS. Draw... DTIYS. Draw this in your style. I did a couple of designs for that until I got this one, which I was happy with. The red wasn't quite working for me, so I just figured, fuck it, I'll do it in pink. I put yellow in the skeleton after the fact. Which I think I quite like, but I think I do prefer it with just the white skeleton as opposed to the yellow. A friend of mine, very nice, did some makeup looks with blood and stuff. It was quite good. Other bits, I like these. This is one of my favourite things to do, is just draw like shape and then a face and do all the shading and stuff. And in this case with Leatherface, it's quite a cool couple of little blocky Leatherface faces. All of this, been over this and this and this. More. See, I'm more happy with this one, but then I didn't like the body and the face. And the arm is still awkward as fuck, so I don't know. Maybe I'll do something with that, maybe I won't. That was fun. Also, drew a lizard. I do have more. Al Swearingen from Deadwood. I've gone on about Deadwood again and again. The plan is to draw a bunch of portraits of characters from that show. We'll see how far I get with that. And then similarly, Wild Bill Hickok, Calamity Jane. There's going to be Jesse James. And then I'm also going to do... because they're like real life cowboys that actually existed. Girl, whatever. And I also want to do Arthur Morgan and John Marston from Red Dead Redemption, because I think that would be quite a neat little... Like if I have all these cowboy characters lined up, that would be quite neat. And then all these portraits of Deadwood characters and such. Don't know what the fuck that was. I was just tired and doodling. Oh, we've got more. This book's almost full. Jesus, I've missed. There's gaps, obviously. They'll get filled in, but you know. Lizards. Have you seen my lizard video? It's really good. Watch it. It's fucking. You'll learn how to do lizard. There was one drawing here. This is quite a funny one. See, I don't know how visible it is, but this is like a guy laying down on a bed or something. And he's got obviously a girl with her arm around him. His head on the pillow. You know, like a sweet, cute little like scene. Guy and a girl laying down on the bed. Their legs are intertwined. See her legs coming through underneath his leg. If that makes sense, if you can see that, yeah. Yeah. I think that's sort of... You can just about tell what's going on there. Give her a shirt. And then the funny part would be, that would be drawing 1, and then drawing 2 would be the reverse of that, which would be... I don't know how I draw it. The girl's body, like this, with her arm, and the guy's head here, and his leg over hers. And you already know what the joke's going to be. Is that she's got no head. More murder, more abuse, more violence against women for their sinful ways. It's what they deserve. I think that's maybe let's do this. Her arm in there. And then he's looking sort of miserable and unimpressed with himself, because that's the whole point of those murder drawings. There's nothing glamorous about it. It's sad and lonely and depressing. It's not glamorizing or sexualizing the murder. It's showing it to be a horrible thing to do that is done by horrible, sad, lonely people. Yeah, for everyone fucking complained that, because that got a whole bunch of controversy. Posted that shit and everyone was up in arms. Oh, you never draw men dying. You never draw men. I draw men dying all the fucking time. It's different, yeah. Ah, she's got no head. Where's her head? What's she done? Has she lost her head? Silly bitch. Fuck that dumb bitch. Can't even keep her head attached. Maybe she deserved to die. Maybe girls deserve the abuse that they get based on choices they make in life. It's their fault. See, that's a horrible thing to say. You can't go and say some shit like that. That's mean and nasty, you, and how could you? Ooh, woo, woo, woo. There was... I might draw that neatly. I might not. Where did I draw? Something else. This is going to be a funny one. That's going to say there's going to be a bunch of guys on fire, and it's going to say all men are cremated equal. Yeah, get it? All men are cremated equal instead of created equal. All men are cremated because that means to be burned. I drew something. Yeah, that's the Charlie Day. I did this today. I'm actually really happy. I was, because you get the picture in your head of like, oh, I'll draw Charlie singing that song because of that song I'm learning to play. I don't need your trophies or your gold. I just want to tell you all, go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves. That, frankly, that's a line that sort of resonates. That's a strong line. It's a funny like song, but it's a strong line. I don't need your trophies or your gold. I just want to tell you all, go fuck yourselves. It's not about that. But you get the idea in your head of like, oh, I'll draw Charlie singing that, and I'll put the lyrics to this. Give him like a big head so it looks like a little cartoony, you know. And then you start drawing it. I started drawing it like this, you know, freeze framed the show, and I was so unhappy with how it was coming out, and I was like, fuck, it's not going to work, is it? I drew this little sketch, and I was like, it's a bit better. Then started drawing it again. This was yesterday, and then drew it today, Thursday, and I was surprisingly happy with how it came out. I think the likeness is not spot on, but pretty good. It's good enough that if you know the show, you can sort of tell who it is and what he's doing. He's got his silver nose from where he was huffing spray paint, singing his song on the keyboard. Yeah, I was really happy with that. So that's something else in my sketchbook. But I don't get time. Well, I do. I probably have loads of time to play my sketchbook. I just masturbate instead. For hours sometimes. If you link it all, if you get 2 or 3 a day, sometimes it could be 20 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes or an hour, depending on what I'm doing with it. And that adds up. It's time in the day, you know. And it's like, as soon as I've finished, I want to have a little sit down, maybe get a snack or something. I don't just want to finish, just shoot my wad, and then be like, well, now I'll get on with some work. Because that's not, I don't feel like I want to do that. I want to have a sit down, have a sip of my Dr. Pepper, a little snack bite to eat, and then go again for another 45 minutes to an hour. Waste all my time instead of drawing and shit, which I should be. I'm really happy with that. I think that's really good. What time are we at? I got this because did you see Riley Hawk? Tony Hawk's son released a new video part, and it's really good. And you know, because you grow up playing the Tony Hawk's video games and such, and you see Tony Hawk's kids are skateboarding, and you're like, wow, cool. And then his son grows up to be a professional skateboarder, and you think, oh, okay, cool. Then you see him skate, and you're like, oh, he's good. He's a good skateboarder. And I think for quite a while he's been. Maybe people have been saying like, oh, you don't skate anymore, you just do this and that with your family, like a fucking arsehole. So I think with this skate part, he was saying, trying maybe to sort of distance himself from all of that and from being Tony Hawk's son, but rather being Riley Hawk, his own thing. And this latest video part, I think it's called like No More Nepotism or something like that. Nepotism being, you know, being given a job by your parents or whatever. And he's showing that he can stand on his own, more than stand on his own as a professional skateboarder. And he absolutely kills it. It's a really fucking good part. Like a lot of skateboard parts you look at, and you know, like it's good skateboarding, but they can all sort of blend together a lot. Where it's just, okay, more good skateboarding, more good skateboarding. And this isn't, it's not outstanding. It's not like you have to see this video. It's just a good video part. So if you're into skateboarding, look up Riley Hawk's latest video part because it's quite a good one. Oh, a hard flip! Wow!